1970s, and there's nothing to keep family units together anymore. So I guess it's just the way it is. So we just accept it, right? Is it such a big deal that kids of divorce or separation account for 75% of teen suicides? How about the court-inspired parental suicides and custody murders? You know, I personally witnessed a lot of this. But if it's not my kid, it's not my family, do I really want to hear about it? You know, most people don't tell me. I don't want to know. What's the hype of over 80% of early teen pregnancies come from single-parent homes? Who cares if over 90% of all troubled runaway teens only knew one of their parents? The Wall Street Journal wrote that juvenile homicide arrests rose 87% in the 10 years following the change in family formation system. That was implemented as a result of the breakdown of the family unit, but who cares? As a former circuit court officer for child support enforcement, I didn't need statistics from the Health and Human Services Department or the Census Bureau to know that young people are becoming completely averse to ever getting married. And adult parents are having more and more trouble with their grown children even wanting to move out of parental homes. Should this concern us at all? Children are still being born, but two parents remaining in the lives is a luxury that very few, only the luckiest, get to grow up with. But apathetic American citizens seem to care more these days about endangered species or the pristine quality of swamplands than they do whether our children are growing up to be suicidal addicts, felons, or deviants. I adore children, and I wanted to help families of divorce and separation. So soon after going back to get another degree, I went to work for family court. And I had some lofty idea that I could actually make a difference for separated parents to reconcile or at least communicate for the sake of the children. I have been a single parent in an abusive relationship that failed, but all the seminars, books, and parenting classes that I have taken over the years convinced me of this one proven fact, statistically backed up, that children need both parents in order to develop a healthy self-esteem. Without a healthy self-esteem, what is there in your life? My children were given the opportunity to spend regular time weekly with both parents. Although it didn't do me any favors, it cost me dearly, and I suffered when my kids were away. But I'm still convinced that they are more well-adjusted, educated, and now good parents of their own children today because they had two parents actively involved in their lives. And amazingly enough, their father rose to the occasion and became a pretty decent dad, even though we could never make it as a couple. Although divorce was unavoidable for us, at least the kids had both parents to help them grow to be successful citizens. When I went to work for the Child Support Enforcement Agency, I had some serious goals and worked tirelessly to help dispersed parents understand the circuit court system so they could comply with their court orders and have better relations with their children and the other parents and pay their support order. But instead of being rewarded for helping parents, the other caseworkers laughed and said, "Don't be a social worker." I was warned repeatedly by my boss not to waste time on matters that didn't bring in money for the court. Insignificant problems like visitation and custody. They were a waste of the court's time and resources, I was told. It was not my job to concern myself with the well-being of the children or the parents. I was there to enforce the orders of the court, nothing else. We were rated for our effectiveness and how much money and child support we could bring in, and our priority was to get non-custodial parent who was behind in payments into a court hearing to be jailed behind bars, or at least scared into paying. We legally attached up to 50% of the payer's wages, took bank accounts, inheritances, winnings, tax refunds. All of these things you probably are well aware of, but whatever bond money the incarcerated parent could beg or borrow went automatically to the agency for child support collection. And of course there were always court costs. There was nothing in the child support agency that was in the best interest of children. It was all about money. We weren't allowed to talk with grandparents, step-parents, or other payers, relatives, or caretakers of the children unless the parent was listed on the court order. And I was written up for telling parents about the office policies in our agency or about circuit court rules. Our office policy was different for some clients than for others, and it changed on a week-to-week basis according to what was convenient. We wanted to fit any contingency. We could run the financial records through a computer in a matter of minutes and clean up a lot of error, or at least make it look like we had. Maybe this was the reason we couldn't give out our agency secrets, although we were rewarded for increasing the amount of money coming in for child support. We were regularly threatened with getting personally sued for practicing law without a license should we dare to tell a client about his or her legal options for relief, should the payer lose a job or get in an accident, something similar. For every $1, for every one miserable dollar that went to a family for child support, about $23 to $30 of your tax money from the federal taxes and from Social Security goes into the system to extract this one miserable dollar for the children. Now, in any kind of business you ever looked at those kind of statistics in, it would be a failure and it wouldn't go on. But in this bureaucracy, this is success. When I tried to protest that it didn't seem ethical to keep parents guessing and then in the dark about their rights and expectations, the director would callously say, well, if parents don't want their children to be wards of the court, then they should not get a divorce. Well, as if no-fault divorce gave people the choice. And if parents weren't married, there was even less respect for the children or the individuals involved. No punishment or disrespect was too low for our clients. We were the best. It didn't take long to learn that deals were made or broken behind closed doors before the hearing was ever held. Fathers' rights and other advocacy groups were discriminated against. The judge was warned whenever they were going to be present in the courtroom or suspected that they might be. Members of these organizations were given the harshest sentences, branded as militia members, dangerous. Precious children were used as excuses for the agency to get matching funds and big enforcement incentive payments from the government. The Detroit Free Press ran a survey where citizens voted overwhelmingly that joint legal and physical custody should be the ruling in all divorce and custody cases unless there is documented evidence that one parent is not fit or willing. But despite all the mental health statistics, educators' recommendations, and just plain common sense, judges in court still prefer to award custody to one parent. Why is this? Is this just because it's precedent? It's because the judges are ignorant? No, it's because of money. It's because of money. This doesn't happen as a result of ignorance. It happens because of the greed of a hungry and growing bureaucracy that is out of control and sacrifices our children and our future as a nation for the immediate gratification of millions and millions of dollars in federal tax and Social Security. Your tax money goes to destroy children. But why should you get involved? Why should you care?
I'll see you guys. Nice to see you.
And they're willing to blow the whistle on the system. They just want to know they're not going to be alone when they do it. I really appreciate Carol stepping out and demonstrating the courage that she did. The last person that's going to speak tonight is a gentleman by the name of Bill Bailey.